What's going on?
What's going on, you guys? Well, Stephanie Jones is apparently a complete moron. She's ruined it for everybody. So if you haven't heard the news, Katie from Without a Crystal Ball, she's a self-declared mommy sleuth. You may follow her channel on YouTube. She just broke one of the biggest stories, possibly in the last few months, in this Justin Baldoni Blake Lively case. She just unleashed the beast. Leave it to the YouTubers, leave it to the independent researchers who have absolutely no ties, who have absolutely zero fear of being blacklisted in Hollywood to deliver the truth. And so this is the truth that she found. So apparently there was a lawsuit filed by Blake Lively through this corporation called Van Sant Inc. And it was filed in New York against these anonymous defendants called the Does, 1 through 10. It's kind of like a way of saying like John Doe, Jane Does, the Does, when you don't know who the actual perpetrators are. So you just make up a name. You create these ghosts, these phantom people out to get you. And so they fabricated, or I don't know if maybe fabricated is a strong word, but they materialized these phantom Does claiming that they were after them, that they were going after their reputation. But it was filed in September of 2024. Okay. This was shortly after this whole Stephanie Jones firing of her partner, Jennifer Abel, at Jonesworks PR, where she confronted her to give up her phone. And that's where all of these text messages were leaked in Blake Lively's lawsuit. That's where she got all the information. I think a lot of us were also kind of wondering, like, how the heck did Blake Lively get all of these very intimate text messages? Well, Stephanie Jones obviously gave it to her team, Team Blake. We know that for sure. But how? Right? How would you go about doing that without getting yourself involved or getting yourself in trouble, without breaking any laws? Well, you conspire with somebody who wants that information to file a lawsuit, a fake lawsuit with the sole purpose of finding these phantom Does, these perpetrators that don't really exist, maybe just in your imagination. Tell the world that, oh my God, these people are after me. I need to subpoena people in order to get information. Well, that's what they did. They then subpoenaed Stephanie Jones so they could get her phone, Jennifer Abel's phone. And that's how they got their text messages. That's how they got the evidence, the basis of their entire lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. This stinks. This smells like collusion. This smells like a conspiracy. This smells wrong. It smells evil. How? Why? Are these people that sick that they would do this? That they would go out of their way in order to manipulate the system, the justice system, the legal system? Imagine if someone wanted to do this against you, right? Imagine if they created a fake lawsuit, a phantom lawsuit, whatever you want to call it, against phantom people that may or may not exist, just so they could subpoena you to get information legally with a plausible deniability. Like Stephanie Jones can make the excuse, oh, I was just subpoenaed. I didn't hand it over. Of course she can't hand it over. That would make herself look like a complete idiot. Why would she hand over sensitive private information about her clients, her former clients? Imagine if she did that to any one of her current clients right now. How could anybody trust her? Nobody can trust Stephanie Jones at this moment. If you're a client of Stephanie Jones, like, look at her playbook. Look at what she did. She basically took someone else's phone who used to work for her, a supposedly trusted friend, a partner. They're very close. Stephanie and Jennifer apparently were really close to each other. maybe even considered each other friends, at least peers, professionals, partners, right? Imagine if you took their phone and leaked private text messages and then handed it over to another celebrity so that they can use it to file a lawsuit. That is wrong. Like, that would not work. That would not fly. If I was a client of Jonesworks PR, I'd be unsettled at this moment. I would not want to be a client for Jonesworks. This is an absolute betrayal in the PR industry. I mean, maybe it's not surprising to people in the industry, but this is kind of surprising to us that people would be so low to use this tactic to basically leak information so that people, your friends, could sue other people, to leak private text messages. I mean, who knows what else was on Jennifer Abel's phone? It was using her personal number, private personal information. And Stephanie Jones was able to dig through it and use it to basically sue. Unbelievable. So we have to really go back. We have to go back to the lawsuit documents. So this is from the timeline of events from Justin Baldoni's team. On July 10, 2024, whilst dealing with the Baldoni's mounting PR headaches, Baldoni's publicist, Jennifer Abel, was also dealing with a difficult working relationship with her employer, Stephanie Jones, founder of Jonesworks PR. The tension between Jones and Abel reached a tipping point when Jones, whose behavior had become increasingly erratic and hostile, demanded Abel corroborate falsified accusations about a senior Jonesworks employee in an effort to drive him out. When Abel refused to go along with it, Jones responded with mockery, calling her a quote-unquote 12-year-old drama queen. As a result, on July 10, 2024, Abel notified Jones of her decision to depart from Jonesworks and intention to start her own business. Abel offered a 6-week transition period with an end date of August 23rd, 2024, and notified her colleagues. How immature do you have to be to call your partner, one of your business partners, a 12-year-old drama queen because she wanted to gaslight an employee? And good for her, Jennifer Abel. I guess she still has a moral compass. She refused. I think she saw the writing on the wall. She was probably working for a psychopath, a crazy lunatic. And she put in her 6 weeks notice. That's a long time, a 6-week transition period. This is why, I tell people, if you have a really toxic employer, don't even give them the 2 weeks notice. Just get out of there because they're not going to give you the chance. Like, there's no legal reason for you to give them a 2 weeks notice because they wouldn't give you a 2 weeks notice. And this is one of those things where you can see, okay, you can tell Jennifer Abel's character, she gives proper time to her boss, Stephanie Jones. We're going to transition. I'm going to leave on amicable terms. And that's very professional. But we'll see later on, Stephanie Jones doesn't respect that. There's a funny screenshot of a text message thread between Stephanie Jones and Jennifer Abel. Here's Stephanie Jones saying, "You just quit on a Zoom with your employee, Jen, then blasted our entire senior team with your resignation. Grow up." Who says that? What kind of CEO says grow up to your partner? That's so condescending. Anyway, Jennifer Abel responded, "I've been nothing but a good partner and helped you grow LA from 4 people to 13. And I'm proud of that. I don't want this to be hostile." So Jennifer Abel is taking the high road. She sounds like a very nice person. And, she's not doing the name calling. She's not stooping down to these, narcissist psychopath tactics, right? Of trying to get a reaction out of you. Like, how is she a boss? How is she a CEO? What kind of CEO tells somebody to grow up? So toxic. Look, here's how Stephanie Jones responded. "I'm not the one creating hostility or drama. You have and continue to do so. No one senior behaves like this. It's reactionary, dramatic, and immature, sad. And I have been equally good to you. No one else would do for you what I have done. You'll see. Your behavior is appalling. You'll see. Man, talk about some projection here. Who's the one who's actually being reactionary and dramatic and immature and sad? You know what? This comes out of the narcissist playbook. It's usually the narcissist. You know, they project everything that they feel onto you. They're the ones who are immature. They're the ones who are hostile. They're the ones who are reactionary, dramatic. They want that out of you, right? They want you to stoop to their level so that they can make themselves a victim. And so what does Jennifer Abel respond with? She said, and thank you for everything you have done and the many opportunities. She just takes a high road and bounces. You could tell she's dealt with Stephanie Jones and her tactics before. She knows not to react. She knows not to respond. She knows that if she stoops down to her level as a narcissist, you know, it's game over for her, right? Because she's going to use that tactic. She's going to use that against her. Unbelievable. So what happened is that Jennifer Abel obviously was fed up with Stephanie Jones. And Jennifer Abel was Justin Baldoni's publicist, working under Jonesworks PR. She helped grow the LA office from 3 to 14 people. You know, good for her. And she decided she's had enough. She's had enough of the abusive, toxic behavior, this company that she worked for, and wanted to start her own PR company. Good for her. Well, the problem was that she made the mistake of having good faith against a psychopath like Stephanie Jones. Let's go back to the timeline events here. On August 24th, 2024, 2 days before Jennifer's last day, Abel pulls up to the Jonesworks office in Beverly Hills. There, she is confronted by a physically imposing security guard, a lawyer sitting at a conference table covered in documents, an IT professional, and Jones' chief of staff who had flown in unannounced from New York. After being ushered into the conference room, Abel sees that a security guard is posted just outside his doors, blocking the exit. In a menacing and cold tone, the attorney points to the documents and tells Abel to review and sign them. The attorney claims that Jonesworks believes she had proprietary information on her personal laptop and will likely have grounds to sue if Abel does not allow them to have access. Completely caught off guard by this hostile and intimidating display, Abel falls into a state of shock. She has never experienced anything like this and does not know what to do. Fearful that she will burst into tears and humiliate herself, which she knew was what Jones wants, Abel disassociates. The attorney then instructs Abel to hand over her phone, in which security would escort her out of the building. She still utterly shell-shocked and desperate to get out of there, Abel agrees to hand over her phone, so as long as they will confirm that Jonesworks will immediately release her personal cell phone number, allowing Jonesworks to take possession of the physical device without gaining unrestrained access to its contents. So that's a series of events that happened. So 2 days before Abel was supposedly going to quit, right? Their last day. What does Stephanie Jones do? She basically just hijacks her, takes her phone, a phone that has her own personal number associated with, intimidates her, brings in security guards, threatens to sue, and escorts her out of the building after signing some agreement that she barely had time to read. And so at this point, Stephanie Jones has Jennifer Abel's phone in her possession. This is bad faith. Jennifer Abel showed good faith by giving Stephanie Jones 6 weeks notice, 6 full weeks to kind of transition over her position so that she can move on with her life. She can get out of this toxic trauma bond that she has with Stephanie Jones. And this is what she gets. Here's a sad text message from Jennifer Abel to Jonesworks chief of staff. Here's what she wrote. Steph, this is Jen Abel, my new cell. I am writing you both as a personal plea to please release my cell phone number. This is the same number I've had since high school. This isn't a work-related thing. This is my personal number that is linked to all of my bills, my medical, Chris's dad's living facility, all of my personal emails and accounts, and due to two-factor authentication, I can't have access to anything. You wrote me numerous times you were going to release this, and then Verizon was calling you during the 4 hours I was there yesterday. You never picked up. They said you never even started the process after you told me you did. The lawyer I was ambushed with yesterday even said this was fine to do. I've been nothing but good to you both, but this is just mean and egregious. I'm begging you to please release it before I travel tomorrow. Please. You have no use for a 904 number that has been my personal number before you took on the billing. It takes one phone call. Please. Jennifer Abel is begging for them to release just her phone number, not even to get her phone back. They wouldn't even take the time to give her any sort of dignity to respond to a Verizon verification call so that she could get her phone number ported over to her new phone. That is so disgusting. It's sickening. It's so cold. It's cruel. It's mean. It has nothing to do with business. Her life is tied to this phone. She can't access her accounts. She can't pay her bills. She can't do anything because she can't verify anything because she doesn't have her phone number. She's pleading with them to give them her phone number back. This really does says it all about the state, the level of cruelness, of cruelty, of the levels of what these people are willing to do in order to put you down, to get back at you. The absolute pettiness, to get revenge. This comes straight out of the narcissist playbook. So on September 27th, the sham lawsuit is filed. On October 1st, the subpoena is issued where Stephanie Jones hands over Jennifer Abel's phone with all of that private, privileged information, her personal data, handed over to Blake Lively's team. And the rest is history. On December 20th, Blake Lively files her CRD complaint in California that has all the documentation, all from Jennifer Abel's phone. And you know what the funny thing about this sham lawsuit, this fake phantom lawsuit, this fabricated lawsuit that Blake Lively created just so that she could take Jennifer Abel's phone legally through these very scummy, dirty, low tactics, is that on December 19th, the day before Blake Lively filed the complaint, her CRD sexual harassment claim against Baldoni, literally the day before, she dropped that phantom lawsuit. Like, that was it. That was it. Like, oh, no, without prejudice, she just dropped the lawsuit. No, these phantom John Does, Jane Does, these Does, we just let it go. She just let it go. She let it go. She filed a lawsuit against 10 phantom people, and then after she got a subpoena and got the phone, she just dropped the case. That is stinky. That stinks. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about this. So Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's attorney, told the Daily Mail, this appears to be an end around skirting the process to be able to secretly get these documents without having to give anyone notice. That would be an abuse of process, and we intend to take all action allowable under the law. He's totally right. This is an absolute abuse of process. I wouldn't be surprised if whatever attorney filed these lawsuits gets disbarred for this practice, because this doesn't fly. This makes no sense. This is dirty. This is playing dirty. This is playing mean and cruel. This is playing to a level of evil that I guess we're not surprised of at this point. This is what we should expect from the playbook that we've seen of being absolutely low and despicable. And apparently Stephanie Jones is as low and as despicable. I think I talked about this earlier in the previous podcast, right? People in this field, they're just vampires. They're sharks. They like other sharks because their goals are aligned with them, right? You don't want to align with weak people. You want to align with other sharks and vampires because you just want to get ahead in life. You want more power and fame. You'll do whatever it takes to eat up others, to swallow the weak. You know, it's the fish eat fish world out there. I'm not surprised at all. Litigator Keith Davidson from Ask Two Lawyers podcast, they've been covering this case. But anyways, he was quoted as saying, quote, "It's very rare to suit only Doe defendants. It doesn't make any sense to me." So this is an attorney saying that. It doesn't make any sense. How can you have a lawsuit against just anonymous people? But that's what they did. They fabricated an enemy out of thin air just so that they can acquire Jennifer Abel's phone through Stephanie Jones. That's what they did. It's low. It's abuse. It's an abuse of power. If you really think about it, Stephanie Jones really did ruin everything for everybody. She let somebody get to her. I don't know how to explain it. Stephanie Jones really screwed up here. She let the pettiness, she let Jennifer Abel get to her so much that she had to enact a form of revenge, that she had to take her phone, look through all of her text messages, look through all the information so that maybe she could sue her for leaving the company and taking clients with her. Melissa Nathan, who's the crisis PR manager of Justin Baldoni, receives a call from Leslie Sloan, which is Blake Lively's publicist, telling her that she has seen her texts, quote unquote, seen her texts, and that she will be sued. So you know what that means? This is, again, how low do you have to go? How cold and cruel are you? That, according to this, Stephanie Jones sent Leslie Sloan the text messages, Blake Lively's publicist. This is collusion, don't you think? And so this is how it all started. Because of the petty bickering, because of the low ground that Stephanie Jones crawls in, where she has to get revenge. She can't handle anybody taking advantage of her, doing the right thing. You know the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. Jennifer Abel, poor girl, she did a good deed and she got punished heavily. I mean, she even had to go on Facebook. She had to explain to her peers what happened. You know, she wrote, "Hi, I never thought the day would come when I needed to defend myself with my own peers. But this certainly has been an interesting and devastating, quite frankly, couple of days. So here we are. But here are the facts. No, I was never subpoenaed. I found out my private text messages and emails were included in the complaint after I received it on Friday night. And the New York Times contacted me 1.5 hours after receipt. They had already reviewed the 80-page document and had questions prepared, and apparently also received thousands of pages of documents with our correspondence that we never saw." That is just so low. Like, can you imagine waking up one day and seeing all of your private text messages from your phone, your client privileged text messages that you never thought would see the light of day, or even just text messages to your friends, your peers, your colleagues just out in the open, just aired all of this dirty laundry that they framed you as this awful person, which the New York Times did, and only gave her a short amount of time to actually review this and respond to the New York Times. What a low, despicable scum of the earth these people are to do this to actually decent people. Whose characters are we judging here? Are we judging Stephanie Jones's character, who's telling someone to grow up, meanwhile not growing up herself? You have Jennifer Abel giving a 6-week notice to transition out of her position after she felt so uncomfortable working for this crazy lunatic who tried to use her and do the same tactics, the narcissist playbook, to manipulate someone else to turn on their peers, their friends, their colleagues, to basically get on their side. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound like something Blake Lively did? The same plays, the same narcissist plays to get people on their side. And if you don't comply, you become their mortal enemy and you're dead to them. And this is how these people who have suffered so much childhood trauma, this is how they abuse people. They take advantage of you. They take advantage of your kindness. They take advantage of you trying to do the right thing, and they turn it against you. And they project all of the nastiness. You know, they seriously need to see some therapists, do some self-work, that they've never been able to deal with these emotions, that they have to take it out on the good people in this world, the people who do have empathy, the people who do the right thing. They think they can take advantage of them. I want to read this interesting Reddit post by somebody who kind of summed it up. This Reddit post was from 2 months ago. But it basically states that Stephanie Jones is the true MVP. Let's listen to it.
Shout out to my girl, Steph, without whom none of this would have come to light. Without her creating a hostile work environment at Jonesworks, without her detaining and forcefully confiscating Jess Abel's phone, and without her doing the actually unhinged, possibly unlawful, move of sending Jess's texts to BL's publicist the very same day she got access to them. There would be no lawsuits, no discovery, no discourse. Lively would have gotten a bit of heat for her tone-deaf marketing of a film. Justin would have faded into irrelevancy after having been destroyed behind the scenes, and RR and TS would still be universally loved megastars at the height of their careers. You can fairly say Blake and Ryan have scored a lot of own goals here, but Steph is out here playing 4D chess. Best publicist Baldoni could have asked for.
Shout out to Stephanie Jones, the true MVP of this case. You know, she's absolutely right. She kind of looked through the crystal ball. Well, she said it. If her ego wasn't so bruised and took action to go out of her way to try to destroy the people who wronged her, to project all of their own trauma onto these empathetic people who tried to at least do the right thing and take the high ground, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds would have continued on in their careers, being loved and adored. People would have just kind of gotten over it and moved on with their lives. But no, you had to pick a battle with the wrong person. You had to try to step on this poor guy who seemed like a very easy target, I'm sure, for these people, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and Stephanie Jones, to try to step on Jennifer Abel and the Justin Baldoni, the people who tried to take the high ground. You know the saying, you F around and you find out? Well, it looks like they're finding out right now. Another funny thing that I kind of want to point out is I was looking up the Glassdoor company reviews by former employees of Jonesworks PR, and they are absolutely hilarious. The Jonesworks PR company has a overall rating of a 2.2 stars out of 5. And if you read the reviews, the things that people say against Stephanie Jones is just so hilarious. Let me read one of these for you. One anonymous employee wrote, titled "The Worst, 1 star. Pros, when you can finally quit." The cons, Stephanie Jones has to be the worst person to walk the planet. Beware of the smiles of Satan. She lies, berates, embarrasses, and just straight out abuses her employees. She sells unlimited PTO, a lie. Summer Fridays, lies. You are worthless to her. I wish someone would take this firm down. And wow. Well, it looks like Stephanie Jones is taking this firm down with her own actions, responding to her own traumas from her bruised ego to pick on the wrong people, to pick on the nice people, to pick on the empathetic people, the people that they see weak. So, is Stephanie Jones the true MVP of this case? Did she really screw it all? Did she really screw it up for everybody? I think so. What an idiot. That's all you can really say about it. You should have just let the sleeping dragon lie. Instead, now you're caught up in all of this mess. Just because of your ego. Just because you want to enact your own form of revenge. The collusion is unreal. The conspiracy to conspire against Justin Baldoni is real. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.